Bear with me, people. Just waiting for Gary to come in. Everyone come in the room, and then we should get started again. How you doing, mate? Right, Gary should be coming on now. Bear with me. Hello again. Thanks for coming back on again. Thanks for coming back on again. Sorry, people. This is totally my fault. I'm actually really blind. And Gary, I've got massive migraine. I couldn't find.
How are you doing?
Not bad, not bad.
Turn your sound up a bit, that's better. Can hear you now.
So we explained to people about the glasses, about having a migraine, and the reason why we're so late. It's my fault. I just haven't been able to be organised at all today.
Don't worry about it, mate. It's one of the things, eh? At least you're here. That's the main thing.
Yeah. It has to be done, so it's being done. Well, no, I'll let you start off.
What we're talking about first, tell me what we're doing.
Well, I was explaining to people on the live, I just started before, that I did want to play a video tonight of Heath and Michael Foot having a debate over the common market. But it's very interesting in certain bits. But something I did want to sort of pick up on tonight is the fact that people don't seem to believe people when they are saying things that are happening. But as we've said for ages, go and read the FCO, and it quite categorically said this back in the 70s as this was all going to happen.
Yeah, it was like hypothetical. Hypothetically, we're talking hypothetically, but it actually wasn't. It was actually putting the plan into action.
Yeah.
Back in the 1970s. And while they was doing that, they was doing the same thing in Australia, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, this is start. I mean, people don't realise this all started off in the 50s, really.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you saying about Australia? Talk about Australia, because I want to talk about it after that.
Yeah. Well, in Australia, 1970, when Heath was doing that, their PM was doing exactly the same. They signed everything over. More or less got rid of the Queen, so she was only in name only, that she couldn't write or sent anything anymore. And basically, they are owned, like we are, by the Rothschilds.
Basically, she just became a figurehead.
Yeah. So people that don't realise, go and do your research back in the 1971, 72. Look at the PM in Australia, and they was doing exactly the same. They signed out for the same sort of thing over there. It's on the other phone. I've wrote it all down. It's on the other bloody phone. Give me 2 seconds, Nath.
Yeah. See, a lot of people don't realise a lot of this has been going on for many, many years. I mean, from the First World War onwards, there's been certain parts of this Union of Europe happening, and this ideology happening. Many things have happened. I mean, just taking the Second World War and afterwards. I mean, France, I believe, had a martial law imposed on them. I think it was about 8 years in the 50s. Most of the European project was dreamt up and foundations laid down in the 50s. People got to realise it wasn't until the 70s that Britain joined. But there was a lot that went before, and this has been one steady progressive walk, basically, towards an end goal. And it's being proven, it's all there, and it's all, apart from hiding it for 30 years.
Yeah. All right, the PM in Australia introduced the Unidroid Treaty of Rome at the same time as the UK PM entered the UK into the EU. The Queen then became a fictitious head of state of Australia, with all bills passed in Parliament having no royal seal in 1973. Both Oz and the UK lost the head of state. Australia are now controlled by the Rothschilds and UK and the EU.
Note the bank coming in.
The question is, who is the Queen, if not the head of state, keeping the government under the control of our common law and God-given rights? Basically, ain't anybody, guys. That's why they're doing what they're doing. Yeah. Now, hopefully, you'll have all seen the speech that I put on from the Queen in 1957, where she said she can't do F all for us, although when the Queen signed off in Oz, she signed the top of the paperwork, meaning that she had only seen the paperwork, not officially signed it off. So it's null and void. So everybody in Australia, you've got Article 61 in your constitution. So you need to get in as well. Yeah.
You can
And
actually
that's
go
when the
into
Commonwealth of Australia became the Australian Commonwealth, and the Australian coat of arms changed, and Australia is now owned by the Rothschilds.
Australia actually became a corporation itself, like the City of London. Corporation is the Corporation of Australia, technically speaking.
Yeah.
It's all to do with banks and central banking and certain bits. And we're seeing it again, and note the dates again, 73.
72, 73. Exactly the same. So, guys, our Australian groups and that, get onto it, get your people over there, get them in lawful rebellion, get them signing Article 61, because they can join in this, we can do it together, side by side.
This is the thing with Australia, is because the Queen being your figurehead, she still does, technically speaking, have an authority over some bit. I think it's law, but not to what it is in England. Only, like I said, she's just a figurehead. But the people voted to keep that figurehead, so that was a democratic decision. If your government stand by and allow the Queen, when the Lisbon Treaty kicks in, basically, basically this year, the Queen gets cut off. There is no heir to the throne, therefore it means there is no monarchy. They get rid of the monarchy with the Lisbon Treaty in 2020 fully, and this means no figureheads for Australia.
Your constitution's gone.
Exactly.
Listen,
that means
guys,
Australia lose their constitution. It means what happens is you could become under total control of the corporation. There is no guiding force. There's nothing. Once the Queen's gone as the figurehead, there's no guiding force. That's it. Yeah, exactly. That is it. Same with us, and this is what people don't realise. If Lisbon Treaty gets rid of the monarchy in 2020, starts with.
And why we have to go into at the moment, guys, this is what the people are not getting. People are saying the Queen, the Queen, the Queen. At the moment, the Queen, because it's political, the Queen cannot get involved in politics. But when we go into lawful rebellion, guys, and we make it lawful, she can get involved with law, but she can't in politics.
Exactly.
This is where people are making a mistake.
That's means she can only get involved in the matters of law. So not even technically speaking of statute. So that's why it is because parliamentary statute is away from the rule of law, technically speaking, because they're not laws. So the Queen is there to uphold law. So if we make a lawful situation happen within this country, the Queen can then act. That's how you get her to act. You make a lawful situation happen, i.e. Article 61 is the get out clause for everything. It's when we get to say, oh, no. Hold the horses.
And don't forget, and the Queen is a protector of the Constitution. So when you acting under the Constitution and you call for the Queen to back you up under the Constitution, she's got no option but to do so.
Yeah.
That is the difference. And we can beat these, and we will beat them.
Yeah.
That's the problem. People ain't believing in what they've got in front of them.
And this is the thing, when you're dealing with a government, a court, no matter what, but any one of the institutions, you've got to understand, to get redress from anything, you've got to go through a process. And most people haven't gone through that process yet. This involves a lot of tedious crap. It does. I'm not going to lie, but it has to be done. I.e., if your lawful rebellion, it's called lawful rebellion because that's basically what the losers nicknamed the people who won, lawful rebels. And I'm going to touch upon rebel in a minute. But Article 61 when you sign your declaration, and you have to send it to the barons, by the way, people, you can't just sign it and keep it and say I've done it, because there is no proof. There's no declaration there. There is no
You've
bond.
not.
There's no, yeah. You haven't created joint. You haven't done
No.
nothing. You haven't. There's no contracts there between you and the barons. So therefore, you haven't actually entered into lawful rebellion. What it is, Article 61. You've not completed the process. You've not done due process. So therefore, it's not valid as far as I'm aware. Many people have said the same thing to me. You have to send it off to the barons, but proof of sending it, i.e., if you use the Royal Postal Service, and you send it like we say, you send it with special recorded delivery. It means that once it's received over,
Notice.
and there is a signature. So
Yeah, a
it is,
notice
and
of
you do
intent.
this. Exactly, it is a notice of intent, and you do this with any notice, because you need confirmation that notice has been served. But whether it be to a secretary or anything, that secretary's duty then is to pass it on, whichever way that is now being received by that office of the baron. So therefore, your declaration is in full. But technically speaking, it is true. Once you've got that and it's sent, and you have then got that receipt, that is then proof that you've entered into lawful rebellion from that point, because you're basically, you stated your lawful intention, and you sent it off. It is now out of your hands. So therefore, it's in the Royal Postal Service. Therefore, it goes to the baron. It's now out of your hands. Your job is done. Therefore, you are now, technically speaking, in lawful rebellion. There is other stages you need to go through to get into complete rebellion, but that is your first port of call. That is your first kind of leap from dissent to action. Is to take Article 61. And you can take Article 61 whether you've been taken over as a police officer, no matter what, in the army or anything like that. This is a constitutional oath. It's above all oaths. Above anything, it's a lawful oath. So if you're abiding by the law, there is absolutely no reason why you can't take this oath. In fact, it's higher than any other oath as well, I believe, as far as I know. It's the highest oath you can actually take in the land.
Exactly. And people think, we've heard people say, no, you've got to do it legally, lawfully. No, it's lawful legally. You go legally and go into their ballpark playing their game, they'll knock spots off you.
Yeah, it's
You've only
law,
got to
act,
see
statute.
how many people have tried to get judicial reviews in, how long they've been waiting. Yeah, Gina Miller comes along, boom, straight to the front of the queue and gets in. You're never going to beat them at their own game, because they ain't going. They know what you're putting in and everything else. They're going to hold it back. They're going to argue. And also, when you go in front of a judge and you're arguing with a legal case, it's down to interpretation. You can say, well, I think this, I think that, blah, blah, and the judge will say, well, I don't. Bang, there's a fine. Simple as. He can override you. He can't override the law, because the law
No,
is the law.
no. We are governed by consent. We are policed by consent. I mean, technically speaking, we're ruled by consent because of coronation oath. But
The
some people
biggest one of
say that
all,
it's not. Some people say that we can't have that coronation oath is not part of our constitution, and it's not valid. But I'd beg to differ on that one.
the biggest one of all, when you want to go legal, lawful, is council tax. It's enacted to statute. It's legal in their eyes, but there's nowhere is it written in our law that you have to pay council tax. It's not written in the law of this country. It's enacted in the statute.
But
And
it
they
does
brought in
say
over the top to subvert it.
It does say you don't have to pay unlawful taxes. So unless a tax is lawful, and it's stated lawful, i.e. certain taxes you have to
But
pay
what
by
they've
law.
done, they've bullied what they've done, they've bullied everybody and put people in prison to frighten everybody. And that's why people pay it. Because you're living in tyranny.
Yep. And this is the thing, this is what people got to realise. I mean, some people say we get hooked up on things like definition that too much, but definition is sometimes the ultimate key. Often, pretty much 99% of the times I say it would. Things like council tax, things like anything, it comes down to the jurisdiction and the stance you take. And people got to realise this. lawful and legal to it is law, act, statute. Law is the highest thing. Law of the land is the highest law in the land. That's it. Nothing comes above it. So if you are going by the law of the land, you are going by the highest laws. Statute is parliamentary, well, mostly parliament policy. And then you've got acts, which are, technically speaking, as we all know, agreements, technically speaking.
And that's how you know it's false and it doesn't go above the law. Just by the name gives it away. It's an act.
Yeah.
It's an acting law. It's not a real law. But people ain't getting it. And we've banged our heads long enough now. And that's what's done me idea with that. The big long poster I read.
Oh,
the other day.
yes. This is the thing. This is what upsets me now, because this is the person who done this post contacted me in an all good faith. Like I said, I'm just a representative of our movement. I'm in no way, shape, or form do I have any authority whatsoever. I have to, everything I is put towards me, I have to go and put towards like a committee, if you will. I basically told him this, asked if I had his permission to. He said yes. It was all good. As far as I knew, there was no bad things, no ill will. And then before we'd even had a chance, and I mean, I think he'd barely even contacted you, did he? Before everyone went on your live. So again, it's another point. It's like, it's just attacking, and it's attacking for the wrong reasons, and it's slander when, I don't know, I want to talk about a couple of bits, but crack on.
Yeah. And I don't like the way he's going to bear it, because if you're going to slate us, at least get your facts right. We are nothing at all to do with Graham Moore. We haven't been for over 2 years. And the vets know all about Graham Moore. Yes, they do. And we had problems with the vets until we put it right by getting rid of Graham Moore. Then we made it up with the vets, because the videos that he did about the Queen and the Army and the Navy and the Air Force, well, the forces. And like I said, my dad was a prisoner of war for 5 years. So I was repulsed by what he said. Absolutely disgusted. And that's part of the reason. It wasn't the only reason why he left, but that was one of the main reasons why he left, because he wouldn't apologise.
Well, yeah, he was told he had to retract it and apologise, and he wouldn't do, and he's done a little hissy fit, stormed out and said, right, that's it, I'm out. And it was like, right, well, we're not having this, you're not coming back. That's what actually happened.
Yeah.
And he calls himself Daddy Dragon and stuff. And he calls himself Daddy Dragon and stuff like that, because some dragons still followed him. They still do to this day, I think. But he has nothing officially to do with dragons, hasn't done for a few years now. So why people are claiming that he does is beyond me. I mean,
and don't forget, we're nothing to do with the dragons anyway. We ain't even dragons anymore.
No,
we're the constitutional movement worldwide, so we definitely haven't got nothing to do with it.
No, exactly. And this is the thing.
So even by calling himself Daddy Dragon, he can't be hinted at being aligned with us now, because we're called the constitutional movement worldwide. So why are you attacking us because of Graham Moore, when that's way, way in the past? Is beyond me. You know?
When it was like, I mean, we're the ones that said, don't come back.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to sling mud, make sure it's current.
I mean, that's another thing as well.
It's relevant.
Yeah, apparently this person's claimed as well that the dragons through Graham Moore have something to do with the Robin Tilbrook case, and somehow we do and our movement does. Again, two completely separate movements. Again, Graham Moore hasn't had anything, because basically the dragons are still under control of Stephen Langton. Yeah, Stephen Langton at the moment. I think he's the only one that's controlling them at the moment. Yeah. So at the moment, there'll be no reason or no way how that Graham would be anything to do with the dragons, because they two haven't got on for a very long time. After what Graham done to Steve, I don't blame him. But there's a thing, so this person is claiming things, so it's like there's links through the Tilbrook case, when we're actually speaking, if this person, and he clearly has a problem with Graham Moore, He clearly has a problem with Graham Moore, and I do remember something a while back about him and Graham Moore sort of saying something public about him or his group or something. I do remember that, but tell you if I wasn't paying attention back then, not to stuff like that anyway. So I don't really know, but he's got a problem with Graham. You can see that through his post. He's got a proper problem with Graham, and he's trying to link Graham to us at every point. But like I said, through the Tilbrook case, everything. He's getting. I mean, that
And don't
itself is
forget,
slander.
Nathan, don't forget, it was me and you
Defamation.
that called the Tilbrook place out, saying, "How can you go and fight a case for Brexiteers to remove yourself when you voted to be an MEP?" It was
Exactly.
it was a contradiction of terms.
Yeah.
Conflicts of interest.
That's it. Him and Graham publicly spoke about me and me questioning Robert Tilbrook as well. The fact that why didn't Robert Tilbrook go with a constitutional argument? Instead, he went with a legal argument when it was a constitutional problem. And he said, and basically ended up with, I don't want to speak, I don't think I want to speak to you anymore. And then the next minute, and if this person would actually done any research, and he clearly has been following Graham because he knows all about Graham, he'd know that Graham Moore and Robert Tilbrook basically said, anybody that's involved with me, that wants to be involved with them, block me, or they're going to block you. That's why I got blocked by Sway and Stan, blocked by sways of people. Because I dared to question Robert Tilbrook running for an MEP while he's trying to get Brexit. Why would you want to be in the European Union as an MP and then want to be out of it at the same time? This guy said conflict of interest.
We've been slated. We've been slated. What have you done? What have you done? Well, if we can't put it out there, but we know, and so does many people who are watching, who we have helped over the 5 years with different things. And they've been very grateful for. We also called it right with the MEP thing. If you vote in the MEP elections, it was voting to give your sovereignty away if everybody had have voted. But luckily, a lot didn't because of what we was putting out. And then 2 weeks after, Godfrey Bloom came out, good old Godfrey, and backed up everything that we'd said.
Yeah, he pretty much said everything we said. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't back us up personally, but he said the exact same thing we said.
Yeah. So we've been vindicated in everything that we do because we don't just spout it out without doing the research.
We may not have taken the building per se. I mean, that wasn't our intent, but we did have control of the room, I believe, would be the lawful term for it. But we did go into the Fabian Society meeting, which is one of the world's biggest secret societies. Yes, it was a public event, but they pretty much know everything that's going on in the world, so to try and get one over on them is a very hard thing. We managed to get a group of people in there and actually arrest Sadiq Khan, place Sadiq Khan under citizen's arrest, and he did indeed get investigated, and at this point he can still be charged with crimes against our constitution. This has been proven.
And I'm fed up of people saying we got thrown out, because we did not get thrown out. Go and watch the video. We left of our own accord. In fact, we was asked very nicely.
Yes, the Chief Inspector of the Metropolitan Police, I believe it was, asked us if we felt like we'd made a point. Is there anything else we felt we needed to do, basically? And I mean, at no point did we ever get threatened with arrest. And we keep trying to say this, but at no point did any of them threaten. No officer actually laid a hand on any single one of us, not even in a shake of hands, I don't think, actually. So I mean, there was no contact whatsoever. They all knew where we stood. We had our jurisdiction. It's pretty much the same as theirs. We knew our rights. They knew what their job description. The whole thing went as it should do. People got to remember, we phoned the police. We phoned the police because that's the whole point. Citizen's arrest. We knew how to do it. Is to highlight a crime. So you eventually, if you want something to happen, you have to put them over to the authorities. And unfortunately, whether these authorities are corrupt or whatever it is at the moment, that is the lawful process you have to go through. Otherwise, you haven't done it. Therefore, you can't claim any bad feelings afterwards. So it has to be done, whether it goes with a corrupt system or not. It's just you get to prove it's corrupt afterwards.
Yeah. And don't forget, we stood up calm and collectively. It wasn't, like I said, it was a non-violent, peaceful citizens arrest. That's what I said. We stood nice and calm, nice and peaceful, and we did it in front of all the mainstream media networks who was filming in there on that day. Didn't stop us.
Nope. Like I said, the only people that actually started getting uppity to the point where they was actually assaulting people or anything like that was actually like some of the members of the staff and some of the crowd.
Yeah.
But then again, I mean, these are the people that went and got the EU flag. It wasn't meant to be a political. The whole thing is the favourite site apparently is not meant to be political or anything like that, and they went out and got the EU flag. Yeah.
Yeah, they got the EU flag. I was waving it about and everything. And don't forget, these same people, when they was trying to manhandle us, all we were saying to them is, "Do not touch us. You will be done for common assault." And they backed off because they realised that we would have got them done. It was all on camera.
Most of us had our paperwork on us. I mean, I had mine in a folder that was sort of down to ours and sort of let me jump a little bit so both hands free. Like I said, we all knew what we were saying. Like I said, even most of them were absolutely lovely because it's like they understood. We knew exactly what we was talking about, even to the point where if you watch the end of the video, the chief inspector, I think it's the chief inspector, actually states that they're not as up on the constitution and the laws that we were putting forward as they are. But he did confirm that all are in force. Yes, every document in our constitution is in force and alive today. So he pretty much put into bed this whole thing where people said, "Oh, but it was this day and this was changed." No, it wasn't. It is how it is because you can't change it. You can try and change it for political motive, but you can't change the law. The law is the law.
Yeah.
Like we keep saying, people, this is the thing. We could have got changed. This is the way we would have done it. We could have had Sadiq Khan charged and then removed from office. People need to get behind it. And we can. I mean, if you want to change, do it by law. Don't try doing and fighting things with their statutes and their acts, because a lot of time the acts are only applicable if they so wish. And statute is another thing. It's by consent, so it can be taken or leaving, whereas law cannot.
Yeah. Can't argue with the law. The law's there in black and white, and that is it. That's exactly what the law is, black and white. This is the law, end of. Not this is the acts and statutes, and now you're claiming you did this, but we're claiming you did that, and we've got them on live ground because we're the judge and we're going to charge you, whether you like it or not. You can't have that with the law. The law's the law.
Exactly. It's our protection, and this is the thing. This is what they don't like, because most of the laws are there for our protection. I.e., the police are there to police the laws that protect us, and this is what a lot of people don't realise. I mean, it's our sovereignty, and I want to clear that up as well, because a lot of people don't understand our sovereignty. And like we said about the Lisbon Treaty, getting rid of our monarchy, this is literally the end part of when I get rid of our sovereignty as well, because people don't understand that sovereignty is reciprocal. At birth, technically speaking, we kind of give our allegiance to the Queen through being born on her soil, obviously things like that, and then it's reciprocated to us. That's how comes we can give Parliament our sovereignty, stuff like that. So the relationship between the people and the monarchy, not so much just the human being, because we've had some proper arsehole human beings, but it doesn't mean the monarchy itself is bad. But the relationship between the monarchy and the people is paramount. Is paramount. Is it, like we keep saying in Australia, in a lot of places, is the monarchy that is the only person that can hold these institutions to account. But again, we keep stating she cannot act on political matters. She can only act on lawful matters, and this is where the people have to act. Because unless the people act, it's not going to happen. Because if your politicians do it, it's political, so she's not going to get involved. If we do it, it's lawful. I.e. Article 61. That's where we get to sort of pull the alarm bell and say, listen up. It's the only lawful way to do it, and the only way you're going to get any change. I'm telling you that much now, because trying to change statutes that they've spent the last 40 years slowly putting in place is not going to happen. I'm telling you now. And
all you're doing is banging up a brick wall, because you're not going to get any further with it. The time now is lawful rebellion and action. And
Mm.
we don't mean violence.
No, and I
If
want to.
that's
This is
what
the thing.
people are saying.
I want to clarify this, okay? Because this is what's starting to bug me, okay? Definition. Have a look on Google. Preferably have a look in a dictionary rather than looking on things like Google. But have a look at what the meaning of a rebel actually means. It is a person who goes against an established government or ruler, or a person that engages in armed uprising, I believe it is, against a government or ruler, established government or ruler. So there's that thing called an or in the middle, okay? And so you can be having, and if you are engaging in violent uprising, then you are indeed what you call an outlaw, an unlawful rebel. But if you're engaged in what we call lawful rebellion, this is what it is you're basically using your right in law to say no and do something about it, which we've all got, makes it lawful because you're the right side of law. So you're not an outlaw for taking Article 61. You're not, in fact, you're an outlaw for not. That's why it's in there that we have to compel every single person to take Article 61, because by law, if you don't, you are indeed the wrong side of law. Like I said, it's like with the Lisbon Treaty, things like that. We've got a lot of soldiers, we've got a lot of policemen that have taken oaths that, technically speaking, the EU can then probably have them like prosecuted for afterwards because they've allowed the Queen to be deposed. It's what I mean. A lot of people can face prosecution for this. So your only way is Article 61. Like I said, if you do not keep the very things that can protect you, then you're defenceless. We've already given up our guns. This is the last bit, our constitution.
If people don't get behind it and we end up being enslaved to that, then I'm sorry, but it's our own fault.
So there's nothing wrong with being. There's nothing wrong with being called a rebel, especially if you're a lawful rebel. Okay, because if you're enacting lawful rebellion, because I'm not being funny, and this is what people don't realise. Okay, dissent means an opinion. Okay, it means you have an opinion. Okay, that's how things start. You have a dissent. So we start to have a bit of an opinion that we don't like the way the EU's run, and we don't like the way things are happening, and we want some change. We then had a referendum, all that lot. We actually acted. But then
on the marches, etc.
Yeah.
That's like
it's showing your dissent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're going on the march and you're in your numbers and you're saying, we've had enough of this, blah, blah, blah. But it's just dissent. You're not doing anything about it. You've not made a statement yet.
Well, you can't lawfully do anything about it because it's just an opinion. I mean, you're just showing an opinion. This is what people don't realise. Just because you have an opinion doesn't mean you can lawfully act upon it. Okay? And people go on about definition. Definition means a lot. And I tell you now, it means a lot. Me personally, at the end of this, I don't want to go, if I am brought up in court, and go, well, I had an opinion, so I thought I'd take that building.
No.
I mean, I'm going to say, well, I went through a lawful process. I done my best to seek remedy. It did not happen. I therefore, after all said and done, and no avenues was open to me, took the only avenue left, and that was to take action. And like I said, we've been through referendum, we've been through the march, we've been through dissent. We're now at the point, I mean, the revolution started, people. People don't realise this, but the whole point of us getting out on the streets, the yellow vests, now, look, revolution's already been happening. This is why in France, with the yellow vests, straight away they were saying "Viva Revolution" because the revolution started. Our revolution started a long time ago. It's just people don't realise. We're through.
How many times have we said, Nate? How many times have we said on waves? We can't enact your rights for you.
No.
Every single person in this country has got to enact their own rights.
Yep.
We can't do it for you.
No. I mean, you have to do it yourself. It's your responsibility. I mean, all liability, all responsibility lies with us all. No one is above anyone in the eyes of law, whether it be monarch or MP or beggar. We're all the same in the eyes of law. That's how it should be. But we've got to make sure, and this is the thing, we've got to make sure the law is enforced and our rights are upheld, and we haven't been. That's why we're in the situation we're in now. So this is why we're telling you, learn your rights, let's start doing it, let's start resetting the clock.
But very shortly, we will be showing you again the way. We will be doing an action and we will be showing you that if you lose the fear and you stand up and you believe in your constitution, etc., that you can do it, and they can't touch it. And we'll be showing you this again soon. And then maybe you'll believe us.
Yeah. Like I said, we're going to be doing it because like I said, there's a lot of things that go on, a lot of things that are done, and a lot of time they're laughed at. So a lot of times something can be laughed at one place and it be accepted in another place. Like I said, this is where we've got to fight back, people. We're in the revolution now. The next step is lawful rebellion. It's where we can actually now proper start to act. I mean, no more just standing in the street showing our dissent. That time is over. It's now time for Article 61. It is pretty much proven that they're going to do that utmost. I mean, there should be no question. There should be no argument. There should be none of this political debate or this upheaval about leaving the EU. A democratic decision was made, and this is
It
one,
should
I
have
think,
been done
one of
10
the
years
first time.
ago.
Exactly. It should have done as well, but the problem is there again, Gary. I think we've got ourselves to blame because, as a nation, we went and we voted in the EU elections again. So we showed an overwhelming urge to be part of something that we'd actually voted to be out of. I mean, legal and all. I mean, it's a technicality, but they
This is what
use it.
people didn't
They
get.
keep using it.
This is what people didn't get down there, Fwani. We was
Yeah,
already out on the 29th of March. So if you're out, how can you take part in an EU election for MPs if you're already out? And this was the
exactly.
big test. This was the test for you guys. And everybody fell for the bullshit. Well, we'll vote in this. No, if everybody hadn't voted, you would have been showing, that would have been showing your dissent by not voting. If you'd have all not voted at that particular time, that would have proved to them, well, nobody's gone to the polls, nobody's voted. They know them out. But now everybody went along like good little slaves and all voted in the election. Couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that they fell for it.
Well, a lot of people, I think, done it out of sheer desperation because they don't know what they're doing. They've been told
I know why a lot
various
of them did it.
they've been
A
told
lot of them did it because they
various
thought they
different
was
things.
going to get one over on the government.
Mm.
But it didn't matter who you voted for. It was your vote actually going in that box that they wanted. It didn't matter who you was voting for.
No, it's your action to vote in their elections which did it.
Exactly.
And I say there because I did not vote in the EU elections, and I no
Neither did
longer.
I.
I keep saying this. I know we're out by law. We're out by 31st. They've got no choice but out and no deal. And the Lisbon Treaty, I'm telling you now, the Lisbon Treaty, this is what I'm saying. Everybody, especially people that have been in the force, and everyone needs to understand that this is the deposing of the monarchy. This is the oath you took to make sure it never happened. We've got to make sure this doesn't happen. And there is
I
plans to
mean,
do this. There is ways we can now do this to make sure they start listening now, a bit further than we've been doing now. But people need to listen.
yeah. I mean, yesterday, Simon, well, the day before yesterday, Simon did that video. Oh, it's clickbait, it's clickbait.
Yes, a lot of people
Because
saying that.
you're brainwashed to believe that by the mainstream media. They've got people who are out there who you think are normal people, like us, but they ain't. They're against you. And they're getting a name for themselves in our movement. And then when Simon comes out and says what he says, they'll go against it and they say, oh, well, he's respected and he's saying it's clickbait.
It's like we've been saying, and many groups have attacked us because we've been trying to help them out and pointing things out. There has been, you've got to remember, before the veterans sort of come on and done the Facebook scene. I mean, I know many groups were on there, but before it got as big as it did, the vets weren't really seeing this. Other groups as well that didn't form to think that Leave and Remain have been basically attacking each other on the internet and on Facebook since before the referendum. So imagine how long that's gone. And the left, and we've tried to explain this time and time again. The left, I Remain, decided that they was going to get together because they've done a lot of different things. It's not just this one. They've attacked us in many ways, people. But one of the ways is to get a group of people together to start to infiltrate right-wing groups. Basically pretend to be sort of right-wing, but not really sort of go over the top. I mean, I ain't going to say anything, but there's a couple that use God, basically. I mean, it's almost like they're a preacher. But to sort of say no to things, basically, instead of sort of saying, no, I don't agree in that because I'm a vegan. Sort of bits it's ridiculous. But they've been in our groups for a little while, like Gary says, making a name, slowly getting to the top, so they've got some influence. And then what happens is the plan was from the beginning is to start to change the narrative of the right-wing groups. So you've got some of the leading members going, right, no, we're not going to do this. What we're going to do is we're going to do this instead. So it slowly starts bringing all the right-wing groups more left, until you start agreeing with them. And this is what people don't realise, and this has been happening for a long time. These are sometimes well-established people already. This is people that have come in after time. I mean,
Trusted
it's like,
people.
yeah, some trusted people. Unfortunately, like I said, and we know this because we found, like I said, we found out the hard way because we the only group, I think, one of the only groups that really have admitted the fact that we was infiltrated. White Red Dragons was infiltrated. But it wasn't by any racists or anything like that. These were by raging lefties, basically. To the point where it got, the reason why we found out is because some of them just couldn't keep a lid on it no more. They couldn't keep up the act. And then it just literally just showed them all up. Like I said, and they're
And
all,
that's what's
there's a lot of
happening
people
now.
that are interlinked between all groups as well.
And that's what's happening now. Because we are pushing lawful rebellion,
Yeah.
and all these people that are in place, because we're telling you the truth, and there's a chance we can get a solution to this problem because people are starting to listen to us. All these are coming out of the woodwork now, and they're all, don't believe them, attack them, this time. Why would anybody, ask yourselves this, why would anybody want to attack the very thing that's going to get you your country back? Why would somebody attack the Constitution and lawful rebellion when it's the solution to your problem? I don't get it, Nathan.
Well, look at this other group that's attacked us. We basically, this other group, son, there's no reason why we both can't learn. We're both doing basically saying the same thing at the end of the day. When it all said and done, Article 61. It's just we've got differences. Like I said, it's like I'm not in dissent, and I'm further on than that. I want to act, to actually do something. I don't just want to sit around having an opinion no more. It's a bit late in the game for that. So I'm not going to lawfully state that I'm going to act on an opinion. I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to go down the legal route because that's already been proven to be utter crap. So I'm going to use a lawful route, like we've been saying for the last how many years, and we're going to go the lawful way because that's the only way anything ever seems to get changed, which we've proven yet again. Like I said, this is the problem. We've been attacked all the way along, whether when we was in the Dragons, now we're in the Constitution moving worldwide, we've been attacked, basically. We've been saying the very same things for all this time. It's not changed. We've been saying the exact same thing for all these years. And we've proven it time and time and time again, to the point where I think we did get to the point where people just at the end turned around and went, okay, right, well, what have you got then? Because it's a case of they couldn't sort of say no. It was like, we've run out of ideas, what have you got then? And now we've got this, we're being attacked by various groups yet again. We've got people out there causing dissent about our group yet again on actions and days like that. I mean, that's another reason why me and Gary, and I just want to address this, is that thank you to all the people that have actually sort of stuck up for me and Gary. We did want to be at the action at the weekend. We did want to be at the action at the weekend, but because there was tensions between a group of admin, I believe, and apparently to what me and Gary was doing, certain bits of our movement, we agreed that we would not show up, therefore, you know what I mean? No problems caused, and lot, despite actually.
Only because there was lied to.
Yeah, that's the thing, and we understood that, so I'm not be funny, do the gentlemanly thing. I mean, there's no need to cause an argument about it. These people will find out soon enough that they was lied to. I said, so we just like, right, it's bigger than us, it's bigger than this thing, so two people stay away. And like I said, it's like people keep saying, well, I won't work with this person, I won't work with that person. If it's possible for a person not to be there and it will go ahead, surely that person should take that, as me and Gary thought. It's the end of the day, it's like, well, if we don't go, there's no chance of any arguments. Therefore, I mean, the left and the media won't get shots of people arguing or anything like that. It won't put a down on a day. It won't cause any like tensions or anything like that. I mean, this is despite other people sort of like who are organising the events and that, like messaging me and Gary saying, no, come, please. We thought, no, out of respect for the day and how much, because we know how much went into planning and all that. There's no way me and Gary, just two people, were going to spoil all that planning for one argument over something petty, over a lie. That's why we didn't go. Not because we're not loyal and not because we didn't turn up yet again. Because if we're wanted, we'll be there. Sometimes we're not wanted, like I said, and sometimes it causes arguments. And for these events to go forward, sometimes people will have to be a little bit selfless and go, all right, well, I won't come along on this one.
Well, we've got no reason. Listen, like I said, like I explained to them, we're there for you guys. We're there to try and keep you safe, to make sure when the bully boy tactics of the police come along, you know your rights to get them removed away from you. That's all we do. We're not interested in, you know, being the orchestrator of all the events. We only come along to the events to support and to show the people, listen, they can't do that to you. You tell them this, you tell them that. And there's vets who can vouch for the last time when we didn't go. We was on the phone most of the day advising the vets what to say. And certain people who was down there who was supposed to know it, who give it that on live feeds, didn't know it jack shit.
No. Didn't help in any way. Actually, I believe gave bad information, in my opinion. We're talking about the same person. But like I said, that's just my opinion. That's just my dissent.
So we never do that. And like Saturday, we was there. If they'd have needed us on the phone, if they'd have kicked off, they'd have found us, we'd have helped.
Yeah. I was still trying to direct people to live feeds and that lot, and tell people where to go and where they are and stuff like that. So I was still doing it. Like I said, we're still helping and we're still promoting it, even though we was told basically to fuck off. Sorry for my language.
We still shared all the lives when we could.
Yep.
So
like I said, we still supported it, still promoted it, despite, because that's what we should be doing anyway. Like I said, and we keep saying this, there's no need so much for all this thing. I mean, there's no reason for it. It's like we said the other night, despite being attacked by this other group, I'm going to say this yet again. There's actually, technically speaking, when all said and done, when it boils down to Article 61, as long as the information's actually, and it's pretty much clear, I'll give you a copy of Article 61, you can read it for yourself. As long as you stick to what it says in it pretty much tells you what you can do, can and can't, what can do. As long as you stick by the Constitution and all the law, you're fine. So there's no reason why another group can't be working at the same time as us. It actually shares the load through, I mean, we're talking about the whole of the UK. You know what I mean? And there's, technically speaking, there's not many of us that do all the bits and stuff like that. So when you're thinking about the whole country, let alone the whole UK, another group would be quite nice who can share the load. That's what we've been saying all the way along. There's no reason why all the groups, and I mean, there could be 3 or 4 yellow vest groups, they could still be joined, because I mean, every group can do their bit in their own right. All it takes is the leaders just to understand the lawful side of it all and make sure they don't step out of that. And it's all fine and dandy. Every group can actually help each other. And I don't mean in that sort of way. Like I said, it's like when we all start doing proper actions and the whole country starts coming out, these groups can, I mean, in their own rights, can do their own actions and actually do a coordinated day. And this is what people got to realise. You can, and I said this before, you can have 2 bridge protest groups. I mean, we're going to need more than one bridge, maybe, set upon in an action. So don't try and get rid of all the bridge groups, because I'm not being funny. It'd be nice to have a few up and down the country so we can actually do something. You know what I mean? You're getting rid of everything. Stop. It's what we said. It's like the egos need to, at the end of the day, and we've said this from day one, at the end of the day, it's all going to boil down to Article 61, people. You're going to have to take your oath. You're going to have to start acting, because it's the only way you're going to do it, because these politicians just ain't going to do it. So at the end of the day, you've got to learn your rights. You've got to do it in a certain way. We've known this for a long time. And we've known that we don't need a leader. We don't need like a designated group of leaders, in my opinion. No. We just need basically I suppose a group of people, basically just like the heads of all the groups, even if it is just like, I don't know, like speaking to certain people, so you've got, like, I don't know, 4 speaking to 8 groups, I don't know, but you could do it in a certain way so it goes through. But as long as you're all getting the information and you're all getting the relevant information from all the other groups, so it's a case of, it's like you're all doing it on the right days, at the right times, in the right ways, and not that, there should be no
And that's
problem.
what we've always said.
So
We've
I mean,
always
so all
said
these
that.
people,
We've always said that, Nathan. All we've always said is, what have we ever done? All we've ever done is try and wake the people up and tell them the rights, and we'll be there on the day to back them up. That's all we've ever said, and that's all we have ever done. We've been on
exactly.
Justice for the 21 marches. We've been with the DFLA on marches. We've
Yeah.
never tried to take anything out because we ain't that way inclined.
No.
So that's as simple as it is, you know. And that's the
See,
way
this is
we'll
what people
always
don't
be.
understand. I mean,
Yeah.
our
So,
whole movement started basically just to try and educate the wider public about your unalienable rights, under the Constitution, to start sort of like getting to somehow teaching people to understand that certain things, i.e., like with like council tax, certain things are unlawful. You can actually say no to these things. I mean, in other words, like, teaching you your rights, and we do it for free. Have done from the beginning. Never had a backer, never sought a backer, apart from when I think Graham and I tried it in the Dragons, but everyone pretty much got a bit pissed off with that, and sorry for language again, but and sort of said no. We do it all for free out of our own pocket. That's why sometimes it doesn't always happen quickly.
yeah. And we don't need to be fair, because what we're doing is passing on knowledge.
Yeah, that's it. It's just information. That's all you need to do. Yes, sometimes there can be things like printing involved in that lot to make it easier, but then again, this is what we keep saying. Rather than trying to hand the money to us, why don't you get some leaflets printed? And if you can't do it yourself, arrange for other people to hand them leaflets out. I mean, everybody can help practically. If you've got money, you don't need to hand it over to someone else. You can arrange for something to be done, even if it means that other people drop them leaflets.
Yeah.
You can arrange to have them done. Therefore, you've done your bit. You pass them on, then other people can hand them out. They're doing their bit, and then it's a knock-on effect. Everyone needs to be. I mean, this is where we get our communities back, people, because we start to work together. We start to actually help each other.
Yeah, and it's so simple. But like I said, we'll keep saying it, and we'll keep saying it, and we'll keep saying it. Hashtag lawful rebellion. Lawful rebellion. The Constitution is the solution, guys.
Yep.
Don't matter what
We're
anybody
literally.
says.
It's like Simon being said in this video is indeed true. We've been saying this for ages. We've been talking about this for some time. I mean, not to be vain, but even Sean Morris done a live the other night, couldn't help but plug himself with the Dragons. It's like, technically speaking, Sean really didn't do any of the work back then, but even Sean was mentioned the fact that he was mentioning this back in a couple of years ago. The fact that this was on the table and this is a step that's about to be taken, that lot, to put was ridiculed. I mean, we'd done it a few weeks before Simon mentioned it, I believe, as well. And then Simon comes on. I mean, believe Simon's actually had it backed up by a general and that lot, and these people are still trying to say, "Oh no, it's lies." I mean, I can tell you this now, people. Most of the things that you're going to see that are the truth, you are going to have somehow a big response from the government or some body of it and try and prove it's a lie, i.e. that the fact that we have our constitution. Like I said, you won't find it with most things.
Yeah. And let's see, all these people who are ridiculing and laughing and calling it clickbait, let's see what happens when you do get that knock on your door and say, we've come for your lad or your girl to take them into the forces because they're 16. You ain't taking them anywhere, and they're all armed guards, and they say, no, here's the paperwork, they are coming with us.
Yeah.
What you're
Because
going to do.
this is what people don't realise. Within the Lisbon Treaty holds PESCO. That technically is the military unification of Europe. That means basically the 15 unelected bureaucrats of what is the European Commission gain control of every single army in Europe and all their weaponry, all their vehicles, all their intelligence agencies, and with us, our nuclear deterrent, basically our nukes and everything. They get it all. And it is actually happening. It's been planned for a very long time. Many people have been warning about PESCO for a long time. And this is the thing. This is how little and how through the back door, Pesco has done, and this is why people don't understand that we're about to lose our monarchy. And it's like, no, the BBC must say that. No, they're not going to say about it till after it's happened. It's going to be, oh dear, no, what's happened? Oh, this means this. Oh, the Queen's going to have to abdicate now because no one can take the oath. You know what I mean? They're not going to tell you because this has been planned for a very long time. Like I said, from back in the 50s through the 70s up till now, this is a plan that's been planned out for a very long time.
Yeah.
So
And don't
think
forget,
you're going to get the truth.
geoengineering isn't climate change. Geoengineering is depopulation.
Yep.
Just remember that, guys. If it's geoengineering, it's part of Agenda 21 and Agenda 30. It's for depopulation. Got nothing to do with global warming. It's got nothing to do with anything else other than depopulation. But they won't tell you that.
The fact that there is always been global warming and cooling, I mean, is irrelevant to some people. These facts, the fact that we had an ice age, and the fact that, I mean, a few thousand years ago, where we're sitting right now, would have been under a couple of miles of ice. But apparently, I mean, if ice melts, it's a really bad thing. I mean, and we all get killed for it. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. These people need to do some research. But most things are kind of crap. But like I said, most people at the moment, if they are not telling you, and I'm telling you now, if the people, because this affects the whole Commonwealth and everything, if people are not shouting about the Lisbon Treaty and about PESCO and about what the Lisbon Treaty is actually going to do, i.e. get rid of our pound, because under the Lisbon Treaty we have to adopt the euro, whether we like it or not. Something that we completely unanimously voted against. But you need to read it. The Lisbon Treaty needs to be stopped, and I think the last possible date we have of stopping the Lisbon Treaty before it starts rolling over is the 31st of October. And that's why that's been picked. It's not there by design people, not there by chance people. That is it. That's the last chance, and they have to literally, and this is what you don't realise, they had to give us a referendum because to stay within the EU and do all the constitutional changes that we're going to about to do, i.e. basically just get rid of ours and adopt the European constitution, they have to let us vote on it. It's our decision. That's how powerful we are and they are not. They cannot make these decisions even though they have. But they've been making decisions on what you call implied consent, basically. Thinking that, you mean, basically they have been put in a position to do what's best for the people rather than do what the people say. This is where politics has changed, and the only thing that's going to bring that back is law.
And if you think that they don't control the weather,
HARP.
Think again. You're very much mistaken. HARP, yes, because it's been in America where the weather was that severe, 2 foot, 4 foot of snow, and it's killed 2,000 cattle. 20 miles up the road, it's 91 degrees. You can't tell me that ain't by design, Nathan.
No, like, I'm not being funny. There is some amazing evidence coming out at the moment. If people are looking at a lot of the fact that, I mean, the evidence, and some of it I laugh at myself, but there is some evidence that's coming out at the moment of like the use of direct energy weaponry, which is part of HARP as well. People don't realise this. The whole thing is connected. 5G, HARP, the whole lot. They are going to be able to control the weather. They're going to be able to control where you go and can't go. Because you've got to remember, people, 5G is a military grade technology. It's a dispersal technology. Basically, it causes your cells, basically, in your skin and your brain to think something, basically, that you're burning up. I mean, plus hitting you and why this frequency is hitting you, it's also hitting you with certain radiation, certain bits like that. This is what's helping making the skin feel like that.
They're trying to bring GMO foods in. They're trying to bring the GMO foods in, and that's why they're controlling the weather, because in America, just this year alone, they've had that many crops fail due to the inclement weather, and then they're stocking the shelves in the supermarkets with cheap GMO shit, and that's what they're trying to get you onto.
I mean, if people don't believe some of these things are happening, so talk about genetically modified stuff, okay? So they're saying it's too expensive and it's not possible just to plant seeds and grow things anymore. We have to genetically modify things to be able to grow them now. Not so. I can still grow potato in my back garden, so there's no reason why we have to genetically modify potatoes. Like I said, a lot of this is bullcrap, people. It's like, if you, there's a reason why the rich buy organic, because organic has no pesticides. It's just grown in the ground and pulled out. Apparently, we can't do this anymore, so we have to use these super crops, these GMO crops, which again is absolutely crap. Because I mean, why would Britain have to use genetically modified seeds, okay, to make these super crops? Because apparently there's not enough was it ground to do this on and stuff like that. I mean, just look at what the EU have done. How many farms are dormant right now because the EU are not letting them grow stuff? There is no shortage of potatoes because we ain't possible growing them. They've stopped us growing potatoes so they can bring in this shit.
I mean, you've all got to have seen that video now on YouTube of that woman who comes back from the shop and has got this, like, it's like a green piece of plastic, and it sticks in a hot saucepan, and it all goes round and it turns into like a lettuce. And then when it's cooled down, it cuts this lettuce, but it's plastic. And that's what you're eating.
It's something as well people don't realise, and another thing as well, it's like our apples and that. A lot of people don't realise a lot of the time our apples are exported to the EU, Europe, and then exported back to us. All what happens is we have basically a coating of wax and plastic put over our food so it stores and keeps longer. But we're not allowed. I think it is because we're not actually allowed to do it in this country. So what we do is we send our crops to somewhere else. They do it, and then we get them back. We buy them back, and then it's okay that way. I think that's the way it's done. I'm not sure.
I mean, why do you think they're trying to kill the bees off everywhere? Why do you think they're trying to kill the bees off everywhere, ladies and gentlemen? Because the bees are the most important, probably the most important thing on this planet. They pollinate everything. They give you honey. One of the most amazing little creatures on this planet, insect, and they're trying to get away with them, trying to kill them off.
Well, look at certain. I mean, look at big pharma. Look at things like big pharma and the Rockefellers. I believe it is not for this one. I mean, it's like lots of things like this happen. People don't seem to understand this, but it's like cancer, technically speaking, and a lot of people don't laugh at me when I say this, but cancer is actually within us all. Most things are within us all. HIV, things like that. It's just whether they're dormant or not. A lot of things can trigger these things to happen. Some in certain demographics, some in not. But what people don't realise is a point in our history, our cattle and cattle in America and other places, actually all across the Commonwealth, everywhere, they used to feed on wild hemp because hemp never used to be illegal. In fact, we had a whole industry built around hemp. It was our rope and naval sector. It was built on hemp. All our ropes were hemp and everything. But Big Pharma had it done where all the wild hemp fields were destroyed. So the animals were no longer feeding on the hemp, so therefore CBD was not going into our systems via the cow, because the cow were eating the hemp, which means the CBD was then going into the meat, which means we was then eating the meat. So CBD was in our diet, so therefore it kept a lot of things like cancers and certain bits like that dormant. In majority of us, it was a natural precaution. So Big Pharma decided to do away with this. Now we have many cancers, and we have a multi-billion, trillion pound treatment industry. And it's like you say, Gary, we've got other areas it's been done. If people take a while look and sit back and say it out loud, I mean, you can see how ludicrous this actually is, but we've all believed it. I've believed it. Everyone believes it. But it's been done by design, people. We're not in a world where things are being, it's like climate change and all this stuff. It's complete bollocks. They're changing the weather anyway. You know what I mean? Look at chemtrails and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's like they can dump all this stuff in our atmosphere, but yet you drop in a packet of crisps on the floor or burying it in the ground. You know what I mean? It's worse than that. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. The same as apparently we've got to do all our climate change stuff because I mean, technically, even though it's been proven, the amount of rubbish that lands up in the sea and other places that comes from us is next to nothing. But doesn't mean it doesn't matter. We've got to pay. I said it's all by design. It's to level the populations. People don't understand this. Like I said, we've had this before many times. It usually happens in increments over the times of our history. Just do a bit of research, you'll see it. Somebody always tries for world domination. That's why we have all the crap. That's why they make fun of it, like with Superman films and that lot. Because they want world domination, and people don't realise this. But many years ago, a couple of 100 years, the Rockefellers, the Warburgs, everybody who owned a massive chunk of some sector all got together and started creating a monopoly and have had it since. It's like Gary says, it brings us back to things like when Australia changed to a corporation. That's when the central banking system come in. That's when a lot of things come in, because it's all to do with this consortium, this monopoly.
It's all been
People
planned.
take the
And what you've got to
Rockefellers,
realise is
the
as well,
Rothschilds.
you look in the 1960s, Nathan. In the 1960s, right up to the early 70s, you had Iraq, Iran, all them areas. They used to go on the beach in bikinis. And because this new world order was coming into play, nobody had had a war since 1945. So what they've tried to do ever since was, right, we'll get rid of that westernized regime and we'll put like Islamic extreme government in. And then what they did after that, they worked on it till they got around and could have an excuse to bomb them. And then when
Like
they bombed them, they know that Muslims and that living in other countries who follow the Quran are going to start retaliating. It's all been planned, ladies and gentlemen. The whole lot.
They have to retaliate by jihad, by
Yes.
the
So
teachings
it's
of the
all
Quran.
been planned. It's all been by design, and we've all just slept. We've just slept walked through the lot.
And it's not just Islams that have been using this. Everything we all have. This is what people don't realise. We all have. We're all being used in it. This is not just one people saying we're being used against each other. It's what people don't realise.
No, I'm just saying, Dave. So what they've done, they've changed the regimes in them countries to make them more volatile, so they can control them better. And now that's what you're getting through it all. But this has all been done by design because, like I said, both them countries, Iran and Iraq, was westernised. There's nothing wrong with them.
But this is another thing that sort of annoys me as well. Like, speaking about something slightly different, but it's like with we talked about tonight, our armed forces and that lot, Her Majesty's forces and that lot. I keep sitting there saying the same thing. I mean, I was talking about the army on the lead up to the referendum, and people were laughing at me hysterically, saying that I've got wild imagination and stuff like that. It's not. It's just because I read the FCO and certain other bits, and I knew that certain bits were planned. You know what I mean? Happens, it helps if you do read it rather than just waiting to hear it from someone else. But people keep laughing at me because I say it's intentional. That I mean, they're intentionally trying to destroy the reputation of the British forces and have been for some decades now because of the EU army. People laugh about it, but take a look at it for a minute. All right, now the EU and everything like that come out about, I think the first brainchild of it sort of come out, I think it was 52, but it was first sort of coming about in the 50s. Okay, after the Second World War. Okay, so you had the Second World War, and straight after, before even anybody had had a chance to sit down and have a cup of tea, they was talking about a unified Europe. Okay, exactly what was actually attempted by one side in the war. But slowly but surely over decades, they were doing this. But look at, it was all right. We was not in too much. It was all fine. But look at when, since our leading up to discussing going into the European, well, the EEC and certain bits like that, look at the infractions we've been involved in, i.e. Iraq, Northern Ireland, that lot, since, okay, and this is, I mean, you've got to remember, people, we've been all under the government of the EU. EU courts, the whole lot. That's why we've gone to these wars and we've been overridden certain bits like that. So by no means is it us. I mean, now, and it is EU money as well that goes into a lot of this. Understand this, people, with the BBC and that lot, to basically be biased and report one way and do other, but in one way or another, the EU funded a lot of things. So like people like Soros and people that have done this. Okay, so think about it. Now all these conflicts are happening. You're seeing things like Northern Ireland, just to mention Dennis Hutchins and the plight of Dennis Hutchins, we all know. and many other soldier F, many other vets, soldiers A to Z, all of them, okay? Have a look what's happened to them. They've been basically told to go into a conflict. They've acted by the rules of engagement, but now, because certain human rights laws have been brought in by the EU, they technically speaking are now technically answerable again to what they did. You don't think by any chance that you may want to destroy the reputation of the British Armed Forces, which has pretty much had the best reputation of any armed forces around the world for, well, since it started, really. Look at our Navy, look at everything. So, I mean, if you want people to believe in an army, if you destroy the British Army, then you've got a chance of getting people to believe in that. But if they start a European army while we've still got a British Army, everyone's going to go, well, we know they're tried and tested, but I think we'll stick with them. But if it's like a case of, oh, look at the British Army, they've been shits all this way along. You know what I mean? It's a case of, oh, we're not going to use them, but we've got this EU army. Yeah, exactly, incompetence. But then we've got this shiny new EU army that does it all by the book. But the problem is, it was the EU that wrote the book that got the British people bloody prosecuted in the first place. Understand this? All our courts, since we entered into the ECA, have been technically speaking under the rule of the European Courts of Justice. So therefore, whatever they want comes in, and we play. That's why we can't deport murderers and rapists who come in, because the EU don't allow us to. They override us.
Yeah, and all our courts are registered in Australia and in America.
Yep. Through the City of London.
Yeah.
Which technically isn't part of us.
Yeah. So there you go. And people who think the Third Reich lost the war, just look at NASA. What you've got to do, all the big scientists from there, they don't get put through the Nuremberg trials, they got shipped off to America and become NASA. Yeah,
it was. Exactly right. It was basically NASA. Once it was all over, they had a group of scientists and officials, the whole lot. They had nothing to do with them, so that's how NASA was born, in my opinion. I say in my opinion, it's pretty much proven.
Yeah. So,
it's the same as most of our intelligence agencies and that lot as well.
Yeah, so anybody who thinks the Third Reich lost the war, they haven't. They've been there in plain sight ever since.
And this is the thing that I want people to realise as well. Everyone thinks 5G is good and that. Not most people don't. Most people have heard about 5G. Most people know it's dispersal technology. Most people have seen the videos. So when I say dispersal technology, people, imagine this. Imagine a grid of masts across the whole of the United Kingdom in sections. So you've got like a little square that you can just section off. Imagine if they made their masts active. So all the people within that square couldn't go outside of that square, because you basically feel like you're just burning up, like your skin is just melting. So you physically can't go through it because it's too much pain. It's non-lethal, but they can also segregate it to one area. That's what they can do when we go on our marches and bits like that. This is what's already happening. 5G is already here. And this is what people don't understand about the Lisbon Treaty. It's going to hit us in more ways than one. When they take our nukes and everything like that, they also take all our intelligence agencies, all the eyes. So like, I think it's up to, I think it's the 5 eyes, you know, MI6, MI5, all that lot, and I believe a couple of other bits of everything, but mainly our command centre. So technically speaking, people don't understand this, but it's like these all have capabilities tapping into every infrastructure. I like 5G. I mean, when we come under the Lisbon Treaty and we become under complete utter control, that's complete dictatorship by the EU. That once Lisbon Treaty comes into force, there is no get out clause. There is no democratic way of getting out. We can't get out. We're in forever. There's no backstop or get out clause of that one. They knew this. They said, well, they already knew a long time ago. Well, by this time, this would be done. This would be done. They've got no choice. So like I said, there is no back door. There is no way out. We're tied in. That means there's no monarchy forevermore. There's nothing. We lose everything. And imagine this: not only have they got our nuclear missiles, but the EU will have control of our 5G grid and all our satellites. So if we show any form of dissent, i.e. like a protest in London, you get hit with radiation, you get hit with all the 5G technology, so it just disperses you. So they have complete control over the whole of Europe.
That's why you've got to act.
It's got to be stopped, people. And we've literally got, I would say to the 31st of, we've literally got 31st of October. If it's not done by then it's going to be a hard slog, but we have to have it done before 2020. But we have to make it perfectly clear we are not in the EU. We're not under the Lisbon Treaty, and we are not going to. We're not going to have it. And like I said again, people, we say lawful rebellion because it is your only way, but we do not say be violent. We do not want a violent uprising whatsoever. That's because we don't have to do it that way. That's what they want, but we don't have to do it that way. In fact, if we do it the opposite, if we use lawful rebellion, i.e. Article 61, to its full potential, we won't have to lift a hand in violence. Well, unless we're defending yourself, but you don't have to. That's the whole point of it. It gives you all the tools you need and the lawful backing to do the things without having to kick off or raise an arm in anger.
We'll be putting the second phase into operation very soon.
Well, technically speaking, it's not so much the second phase. It'll be the final phases, and then as far as we're concerned, that's it after that. But like I said, it's a process, people. You have to give and allow time for redress. You have to go for every process open to you. If you've done that, then you've got all the back and law to go and do this because you've tried everything and there's been no remedy.
So watch this space, guys, because it won't be long.
And I will want to say this as well, actually. It's like, I will say this about this other group and that lot. You're attacking us over Graham Moore. Pack yourselves in, because Graham Moore's had nothing to do with this. And if you've got such a hard on for Graham Moore, go and attack him. Okay? Stop trying to link us to him. Stop trying to use the dragons and stuff like that. Because basically, in a nutshell, people, what happened is this person, this group, I think did form a little bit before the White Pen Dragons did. I believe that is true. I'm not sure. I haven't seen conclusive proof, but I've got no reason not to believe him. This man and this group, I believe, took over a town hall in Glastonbury, took it over for a couple of hours and handed it back. Our group went into the Fabian Society and arrested Sadiq Khan. So our group got a bit more recognition and was noticed more than his group. This is what this all boils down to, people. I think he's a bit upset because even though he's around a bit forward,
it shouldn't be like that because, you know.
But if he's telling you to go down a legal route or anything like that, understand the legal route ain't going to work. And if he's mentioning legal, then you're getting into bad territory, especially when you're talking about Article 61. Because if it ain't lawful, you don't want to know.
It does exactly what it says on the tin, like Cooper law.
Yeah,
it's exactly. Lawful rebellion, not legal rebellion, lawful.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like we keep saying, the process has been, believe it or not, the process has been done for a little while now. It has to be done in a certain way. Like I said, things are in place now. Certain bits have got to be done, but we haven't stopped our actions. Like I said, most of what we've actually been doing for a long time is helping people out with things like, for instance, council tax and certain bits like that, and the understanding of how. Exactly, and an understanding of how it's unlawful and stuff like that. That's been sort of, and helping most people in their day-to-day lives has been what we've done. Where's lawful dissent in this? When have they been helping all these people? Because they haven't been. Because they come to us. Like I said, to help, we're actually trying to show people, it's like, look, this and this and this. It's like with the applied rights of access and certain bits like that. We help people with that. I don't believe this man has done anything with implied rights of access. I'm not sure. Again, I don't know what this group's done because I'm not allowed any.
If they have fair play to them, but they ain't got the right to come and slate us because we haven't slated them. We're only responding tonight, but it's pissed me off because we haven't slated that group once, not once.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think what's happened, because I do remember vaguely, it's like it wasn't until recently that my mind was jogged about it because I was talking to someone about it. But I think it's this person and this group. I'm not sure, but I vaguely remember Graham saying something about doing the same as usual. I'll block this person and anyone to do with this group. I don't think it worked that well, but I believe that did go on. It may have been this group, and I don't know, but I think it was. I think that's why he's got his bee in his bonnet. But the
But
fact
that
that
was Graham Moore.
but the fact that, I mean, the man's on this feed talking about us basically giving misinformation about the Constitution and stuff like that, when the man is just, in that whole thing, he's just give you complete misinformation about us. I mean, the man's gone as far as lied. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And committed defamation. So when he's sitting there talking about, I mean, credibility and stuff like that, when we can actually prove that what you're saying is wrong, so your research and your understanding is completely wrong, why should people believe you on the Constitution?
We'd never attack anybody without the facts.
Exactly. He didn't have the facts. He hasn't had the facts, so we're not going to get into a big war over it, because, like I said, there's no reason for it. It all balls. If I believe they say about Article 61, that's what it's all going to boil down to. People, there's no reason why other groups can't get on board and help. Like I said, I think with him, I think what it is he wants recognition to be the first and the only. But I'm afraid there was constitutional groups around before his, and there is after. We're all. I'm not being funny. Even though he's doing what he's doing, still got to say, you've got to give him, I mean, props in his own right for what they've actually done. You know what I mean? Because they have actually done it, even though it was just a little town hall in Glasgow and that, but they still done it. They still went through the process, bothered to learn it, actually done the action. So all power to you, but don't start attacking us and trying to basically whip the tape measuring out, because it won't happen, mate, because we've been helping people on a daily basis for many years, through many, many personal problems, and help people through a lot of stuff. Like I said, it's like, it's not worth doing it, mate, especially when you lie about it. Come on. Like I said, and you're getting people, again, I'm not being funny, and again, a couple of people straight away, it's like, and despite these people actually learning some things for us and actually doing stuff and proving it themselves, that the way we talk, and we do know what we're talking about, these people are actually apparently saying you've got to go with this group. Well, as we've just said, it's happening again, and it's like people being tricked. I mean, yourself alone.
This is the thing, you see. They're trying to get, for some reason, they're trying to get rid of this group of ours,
Yeah.
right? And they've tried all ways and all shapes and forms to get rid of it. And this is just another way. So when we have a dig back now, it looks like we're infighting, but we're not. All we're doing is responding to people, which will put the post up if you want. I ain't got a problem. And show everybody. But all we're responding to is an attack on us.
Yeah.
But we're the ones, they won't get nothing said about them, and we'll be the ones who, oh, you're causing infighting. No, we're not. We didn't start. Again, we haven't started before.
The only thing I'll say, and I've said it, is the bits I've said tonight, and basically the fact of the matter, the fact of dissent means opinion. So that's why I will never say that, oh, sign this, go into lawful dissent, because there's no such thing. There's no such thing. The word lawful and dissent don't go together, for a start. I mean, dissent can be, you can be having a lawful opinion and that lot. I mean, don't get me wrong, like I said, I mean, I think they've said something about being prosecuted as well with exact, but it's like, you can be prosecuted now for dissent. I mean, it's basically like a contempt of court. I mean, a judge can imprison you for a dissent he has. You know what I mean? I believe so. So, like I said, right now you can get in prison for dissent. So, if we're talking about imprisonment offences and being labelled as something and worrying about these labels, as I said, you can be a rebel, and all you're doing is opposing, and that's what rebel is. You're opposing. What's the word I said in the dictionary? Was it an established government? Yeah, it can be a person that's opposing an established government or ruler, or a person that's in armed opposition of everything. So you could, I mean, you can sit and say, oh, it's semantics, but it's not, because we're saying lawful rebellion. It's not just that. If the fact of saying you're a rebel is going to get you, and the reason why you've done something is because you're a rebel, is going to get you put in prison. Why are the Tory rebels not in prison?
Yeah. So all we're basically saying, Nathan, is stop attacking us. We don't want all this shit. Just stop attacking us. You do your thing, we'll do our thing. We ain't got a problem with you doing what you want to do. But if you start dishing us like you have, then we're going to have a dig back. We don't want
As I
to.
said,
Just leave it.
yeah.
You do your thing, we'll do ours, and see who comes out on top then.
It's not about. I think it's not so much about having a dig back. At the end of the day, he's actually lied about us. There's a lot of people now that,
Yeah.
and like I said, and this is the thing that is upsetting me, and the reason I'm thinking, because I don't remember this person helping everybody in their day-to-day life. And I mean, I'm not being funny. There's some names there. I'm not going to mention. There's some names in here that have been helping people in the groups that have been helping people. I mean, know full well. Like I said, we don't for him because it's in private. I mean, all their details are get private, so we're not going to say any names of people that have been helped. But we've been helping people on a daily basis, even with like Gary says, court opinions, things like that. These all can be proven, but this is someone's personal life. So no, we're not going to go out there and put it all over Facebook like most people want, and these people don't want to either. And I'm not being funny, and we was happy and agreed to the fact that that would never happen
We'll never
anyway,
do
so
it
we'd
because
never
it's
even ask.
confidentiality.
Exactly, we'd never ask. But why this person's doing this? It's just, why attack? Why lie? Like I said, we're not having a dig. We're just pointing out the fact that you've actually lied, mate. You've actually lied. Why are you doing it? And you're asking people to discredit. Basically, you're trying to discredit us by using Graham Moore and saying that we're putting out disinformation. I believe it says in this post that because we use documents like the coronation oath, which I believe he thinks is not part of our constitution.
In the Bill of Rights, you cannot use
Oh yeah,
the Constitution without the Bill
yeah,
of Rights. They're interlinked like that.
Yeah, exactly. Same as the Magna Carta. Magna Carta is the basis for all of our constitution. I mean, it's the very foundation stone. But apparently, this is this is the thing. It's like, do some research, people. Like we said, we'd never say not go with this because it's not be funny. It'd be nice if there was other credible groups that could take some of the load and help. Because it's not be funny. Like I said, we've spent the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, when we first started out, most police officers, nobody knew what common law was, let alone what was in our constitution and what, like the Magna Carta and that lot. Few people knew it from history, but nothing about it in the way that it affects us. It's taken us 5 years, and there has been other groups that are helping, but it's been, I mean, the work we've been doing in the last 5 years to make this so everybody understands there is a thing called common law, there is a thing called the constitution. You have rights, you can do something, you can stop this. All that is basically saying that we didn't do, or it's meaningless, or it's a pile of crap. And all of a sudden now, since all the hard work has been done, he's coming along, and it's almost like, I don't know what his problem is, but it's almost like he wants to come along saying that, no, I started this, so all follow me. He basically said that sort of, I think in the message, it's basically, as long as we get on board with what he's saying. It's like, well, hang on a minute, I don't agree with dissent, using dissent as an excuse, because having an opinion doesn't give you an excuse in law. It's things like that. Like I said, it's like,
But
do your
other than
research,
that,
people, please. It's like,
we haven't dished them and we won't dish them.
yeah. Like I said, as far as I'm aware, I've got no reason to question at this point in time, but I do believe they did lawfully take a building and hand it back, and everything went without any violence or anything. I believe there was some swearing.
Right.
I believe there was some swearing and some sort of like colourful language and that lot, but I think that was about it. It's a fair play. I believe there is a couple of other things he's done, but he hasn't by anywhere, no means, like he's claiming, like when he wants to sort of get the measuring tape out, claiming that he's done all this and we've done nothing. We've done a lot. It's just a lot of it we don't talk about and can't talk about it. So we're not. And it's not the point. Let's not get bogged down with what we've done. Let's start getting bogged down with what we have to do, i.e. get rid of the Lisbon Treaty, get our bloody country back, get ourselves away from the EU, close our borders, you mean, do all the stuff we need to do. This is what we need to focus on. I'm telling you now, people, if people aren't talking to you about this, then they're giving you misinformation. They're stupid. They're wrong, because this is what anyone should be talking about. This is all people should be talking about. That's what I mean. And I do believe, actually, talking about being vindicated, and you talk about Godfrey Bloom, I do believe Lord James, as people are passing about something Lord James said in Parliament, which backs up what I said quite a while ago about the House of Lords not being able to stand under their oath, and the fact that statutes made since 2000, technically speaking, are null and void. I've been laughed about for that. And now Lord St James has come out and quite graciously sort of like vindicated me, because he's basically said exactly what I said. So thank you, Lord James.
Exactly. But All I say, guys, is watch this space, because things are going to light up very soon. And then it's down to you. Down to you, guys. We'll show you the way again. We'll lead the way and show you, you know, we'll put the next stage into plan. But then you've got to act. We can't keep doing it alone.
Exactly. This is the thing. This is the thing. We all have to act. Like I said, if you to understand this, for the Queen to act, and the Queen can sort this out so quickly, it's unbelievable. For the Queen to act, she can only act on lawful matters. So while we're going through the political route, she can never get involved. She can never sort these problems out. While we're doing our political protests and certain bits like that, she cannot get involved. But if we do actually start to act under a lawful clause, i.e. Article 61, the Queen then can, because it would be noticed within law, and with acted in law, the fact that the people are against certain things, the Queen then can actually act. So if you want this over quickly and help,
the clue is in the name.
under Article 61.
Hashtag lawful rebellion.
Exactly. And that's exactly it. It's not rebellion. This is lawful rebellion. This is rebellion done in a lawful manner by our own rights given to us under the Magna Carta Article 61.
So start spreading the word, guys. When you put a post out, just put on the bottom hashtag lawful rebellion. Yep. Spread the word. Get people in rebellion.
There's PDFs there's PDFs in our group. There's things like that. I mean, let's get this out there. This is the thing. It's like, again, and I apologise to. I mean, again, like I said, we're seeing known patriots get caught up with certain things. I think in some ways they're going to go down the wrong road with certain things. It's like I said. It's like with this group. I can't stress this enough. Some of what's being said really worries me. It does really worry me. The fact that saying you can't call yourself a lawful rebel or be known as a rebel, but you can say that you can take a building under, well, actually just basically state that you can act by law on an opinion. It is quite frankly ludicrous, and it shows to me that there may be a lack of understanding of law. Like I said, I mean, he boasted he's had 20 years in doing this. Well, not be funny, there's people around us that have been doing it for 30, 35 and more. So let's not start competing over stuff like that. Like I said, ours has been tried and tested and proven. We've made mistakes, we've rectified them. That was a long time ago. We know what we're doing. We've got our house in order and have for some time. Let's start doing it, people. But you've got to do it yourself. You're going to have to stand up. You're going to have to now start enacting your rights. You're going to have to start joining in and saying, right, well, I'm not. Because like I said, with Gary saying, you had a chance to say no vote and not vote at all. We didn't do that. But now's a chance, even if you just go into Article 61 and you're disabled and can't get out, even going into Article 61 helps the cause. It helps the cause, even if you can't get out and take an action. Just going into Article 61, supporting the actions by publicising them or things like that is helping the cause. Like I said, everybody can play a part in this. Everybody. Every group in its own right can do their actions in their own right. You just need to understand it's got to be lawful. It's got to be, it can't break our constitution. But it can be done. Like I said, we all have the rights to do this. And this is what we keep, and I think this is another reason why I think our groups continuously keeps tried to be got rid of, whether it be the Dragons or us actually, is because we keep telling everybody we've actually all got these rights. It's not a special little group of us that have got these rights. It's not a case of me and Gary have got the right to do this, so you've got to follow us and do this. It's not. We've all got the right to do this. And because we intend to teach and get every single one of you to understand this, I don't think people like that. I think people would rather it. I mean, it's kind of like withholding power. I look at it. It's only information anyway, but what's such a problem with the wider public knowing that they can act and being given the tools and the knowledge to be able to act in their own right? I don't understand that.
Yeah. Now, that's just to show you, Nathan, what Facebook is. I've shared this now. This is the third time I've shared this live. and yet nothing come up on my life. It says you've shared this post, but there's nothing on my wall. It's not shared.
Like I said, it's one of them. I think it's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
As I said, if you don't understand people, like I said, it's like by all means, and I'm
The
saying
nearer you
if
get
you've
to the
got proof,
truth, the more you'll be silenced.
exactly. Like I said, this is a problem. We have tried and tested our stuff. We've gone through, we've proven it. We've got our house and all that, and we have some time, and we have been tried to be silenced, not just by the people on Facebook. Like I said, it's like this is why when we say we won't work with certain people and certain things is because we understand that every single one of our actions has to be lawful and constitutional. We cannot deviate from that. We cannot have any slip ups or anything like that. The government do not like certain members of the constitutional world, if you like, and a lot of it with the truth tellers as well. Like me and Gary both are truth tellers and constitutionalists. Where we make you aware of certain things, we're not liked. We're not things. So if they get a chance to put us in prison for something, they will. So we're very careful about certain things. So when we say, when I say, for instance, I won't work with a certain person, it's not because I'm causing divide or anything like that. It's basically, I'm not going to go to prison because you won't fill your forms out properly. I won't go to prison because you can't be bothered to do something. I won't go to prison because you just won't follow what the
And you
law
won't
says.
wear everything because you don't trust him.
Yeah, as I mean, I
That's
can
the
work with
truth.
people. I can work with people I don't like. I just can't work with people I don't trust. Not when it comes to my like me spending my life in prison or technically speaking having a death penalty. You know what I mean? No, sorry.
Once the trust's gone, it's gone. And unfortunately, that's what's happened.
But
And it's
again, I just want.
through just not coming out and saying, yeah, I was wrong. I was
It's
wrong,
like
I got it wrong, I did do that, I'm sorry. That's all it would have took.
like I said, there's some people that are basically being shown now to be liars and to be shown to be doing underhanded things, which it kind of upsets me because, like I said, it's like there's a lot of patriots out there, and I've always liked the fact that when all this is said and done, I get to sit back and it's like I get to watch a lot of these patriots hopefully go into positions of power, like with being MPs and certain bits like that, where they can actually make sure that we don't get into this situation anymore. But now it's getting to the point where it's like it's ridiculous. Like, well, when all said and done, at the end of this, you want basically it's like, would people really want to try and do a lawful remedy to this, get it somewhere out of the EU, but at the end of it, 3/4 of the people that have done it are actually Remainers, and they've done it in a way that they can just get it overturned. No, you wouldn't, would you? You would want to make sure that this is lawful and it bloody well sticks. Well, let's make sure it is. And that's down to all of us. It is all our duties. It's not just one group's or one person's. It's everybody's responsibility. Another reason why I think that we're not liked, because we're not interested in grabbing any limelight or any kind of. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was a trustee in the Pendragons. It's like all much I enjoyed the odd and all that lot and things like that because the people wanted me to. I never really enjoyed doing it. I'm now in the Constitution movement worldwide, and I am no higher than anybody else. I have no authority whatsoever, and I couldn't be happier. Like I said, everybody just works together. It's one of them. It is a proper community.
It's not. It's a no-brainer. There's no stress because you haven't got to make. You've not got to make any decisions. Whatever decisions are made, it's put to the pigs, put to the group.
Yep.
It's a no-brainer. All the stress is gone.
Yep. And I can now go back to dealing with loads of. I can go back to just like, well, when I haven't suffering from migraines and that, I can do more of my research and more of my reading, certain bits like that. So it's like. But a lot of it was just like some of the petty arguments that you have to deal with. And it's like people don't understand. It's like a lot of people do have a go at people because they will say things on lives about other groups and other people. But you've got to understand one thing. It's like, and we've seen it many times before. That's why we're addressing it tonight, so we can move on, because then it's addressed and we can just go, look, we've addressed that. Because at the end
We
of the
won't
day,
let things
something.
fester.
It's
We
like
don't let things
bad.
fester.
Exactly, bad things happen when good people do nothing. Okay, if we was to stand by and we keep saying as well, silence is complicitness. It means you agree. If we did not reply to that massive long post that is defaming us and trying to push something that I personally don't think he understands, then we're agreeing with it, aren't we? And I don't agree with it, so therefore I've addressed it. I just haven't addressed it in a bitchy, childish manner. I've just basically said, look, this is it. There's no hard feelings. I just don't believe that there is such thing as lawful dissent. I've got a lot of law dictionaries and law books, and I can't find it anywhere where anybody's ever gone into lawful dissent or acted in lawful dissent. Lawful rebellion gets referred to quite a lot. Because I'm not being funny, we're going against a government that basically wants to keep us in the EU and have been doing everything the EU want. I mean, and it is true. They want every single member of government gets a chance to go on the gravy train. That means for the rest of their lives they get a cushy job where they don't have to do next to nothing. You know what I mean? You think they're not going to want to keep that? They are. And we've got a government that wants to keep us around the EU. So to go, if it means I have to say that I'm a rebel, but to say that I go against an established government or ruler, i.e. whether it be the EU, which seems to be ruling us, or an established government, I quite like the fact that captures both of them. Yeah, I quite like the fact that that captures both of them. So, like I said, I'm a rebel. I'll be expecting a knock on the door from the police, but they won't because I am not taking up arms at all. But I will do everything lawfully within my power to make sure this government and our Queenie understands that we, the people, are not happy.
They're selling us down the river. Yeah. Anyway, no, we're going to leave it at that because it's going on.
Yeah, I've got to take some painkillers.
Yeah, and we'll probably do another one on Friday.
Yep. Hopefully Friday, people, I will not have a migraine thing so we can get a bit more detail and stuff and do a bit more.
So I'll give you a chance to get your migraines under control.
I don't know what's about me lately. It's me back as well. My back gone as well. Yeah. Ridiculous. I'm falling to pieces. But so show must go on. We haven't got time.
Yeah. Well, I will speak to you anyway every day as we always do. And I'll see you guys maybe Friday. Come on mine. We'll do it on mine on Friday. Take it in turns.
Yeah, I think you should host. It's only fair, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll bring the cookies on Friday. If I'm the host. Right. I'll see you later now. See you later, guys. Stay safe. Have a good week.
It'll be a late one. Don't forget the Ovaltine. Right, stay safe, everyone. Please get your lawful rebellion forms. Get them sent off to the barons. Unless you send them to the barons, you have proof that you've sent it to the barons. You are not in lawful rebellion. You do not come under the powers of Article 61. Therefore, you can't act on them, and there will be no lawful defence for you after the fact. So please sign your forms lawfully to make sure they are actually done lawfully. Otherwise, they are void. Send them off to the barons. Make sure you get proof. The best way to do this, at least, it's only a couple of quid at the most. It's recorded delivery, and it means there is a signature at the other end, and you have proof. You can track it. Everything it means you have proof of the whole lot. This is why we say this. Okay, most of what you need to know is in the Lawful Rebellion Pack. If not, please ask questions. I believe we're going to do a video very soon about how to fill them all out. I think I said I was going to go. I was going to do the forms myself and send them all off again. It's just getting time to do that, people. But I'll try. If not, I'm sure someone else can do it. But I shall do my best. If not, we can just talk it through it again.
Well, Sheldon, there's a video on my wall showing you how to fill the form in. I did it the other week, so it is on there.
Actually, we'll say that now. What we'll do is I'll get one of the packs and we'll go through the pack on Friday as part of Friday. And then we'll go through the pack then, and then I'll explain a few things. Because there's been a bit of hoo-ha about a stamp issue when the original one was not actually. It was more of someone's opinion, an idea, rather than what we're proposing now, which is an actual recognised method.
Okay.
Right.
It's good night from me, and it's good night from him. I'll speak to you later.
All right, see you later. See you later, everyone. Take care. Speak soon. All right.